Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. This is Mark Akram. I'm conducting this small session, I hope it's a small session, about interview tips and tips I wish I knew before. So pretty much I'm not an HR. I'm just a person who undergone a couple of interviews, who underwent a couple of interviews, and I have a couple of tips that I need to share with all of you. And hope they are informative. And yeah, let me start. So interview tips. Tips I wish I knew before. I'm not going to continue the sentence. I will leave it to you. You can continue it. You can put whatever you want to put there, whatever statement you want to put there. I think you are with your current situation. You know yourself best. So yeah, tips I wish I knew before. Let's start with the agenda. Discuss about what are the types of interview questions that are out there. And then afterwards, we'll talk about what the expectation the employer would have from a potential candidate. And then I would talk about, followed by a potential candidate expectation, what are expectations that as a potential candidate would want from my employer. Afterwards, I'll talk about, is there any relationship between the job description and the hiring manager? This is something I need to stress on. And last but not least, I would through a question, there a teaser question, and I hope you know the answer of that question, because I think it's very, very important to know that. These are the interview tips that I want to talk about. I think they're important. I don't think you'll find them anywhere. You're only going to find them here, or maybe no one touched upon them. So let's start. Let's start with the interview question types. So for us to know the interview question types, and what's the reason for us to know the interview question types? For us to know the reason of the interview question types, because before we go into any interview, we need to know what are the types of questions that will be asked in that particular interview. So typically, what I'm aware of, and the interviews that I conducted, that I did before, they sum up into three different interview question types. The first one is the culture fit. So culture fit is when the employer, interviewer, gauges the candidate's characters and persona to the employer's values and vision. So pretty much they need to know if you can work with the other team members, if you can work with the hiring manager, if you can work with other teams from different functional units across the company. This is what a culture fit means, and this is the type of it. And who would ask these questions? Normally, anyone can ask this question. A recruiter could ask such a question about culture fit. Also, a hiring manager could ask. Also, a team member could ask in any interview session. They can answer about culture fit. So this is actually anyone can ask. So this is a type of question that anyone can ask. No problem whatsoever. Examples of this culture fit questions are: tell me about your preferred work style. How would your former manager describe your contribution in your former job? The second type of interview questions is functional, or sometimes called technical questions. So pretty much they focus on your previous work experience. Do they fit with that particular job that you applied for? Do they align with it or not? Okay. Examples, before talking about examples, I want to know who actually asked these questions. So pretty much a team member would ask. I don't think hiring manager would ask, unless this hiring manager is a technical hiring manager and have a technical background. So if he has the technical acumen, then definitely he's going to go ahead and ask you such questions. Example of these questions are: have you ever worked in an agile environment? If you're actually coming from if this is a managerial position, that would involve software and IT in the IT industry, or maybe some unpredicted or iterative method of dealing with projects. Tell me about a project object-oriented programming. This is mainly for someone who's more in the computer science industry, programmers, or maybe architects, or perhaps something along these lines. The last interview question type that I want to discuss here is the case study. Case study interview question type. And what is it? It's an authentic business scenarios where the firm typically handles on their daily basis. So pretty much, the customer, the employer or the firm has a problem in their company, okay? And they're actually handling such a problem, and they want to come up with a problem. They want to know how rationally you think about solving such a question. So this is a typical question that I got in one of my interviews, previous interviews, from a hiring manager. The case study was Company X has a cash management team that is responsible for collecting cash information from different departments. The way the cash information is retrieved is through typical communication channels such as emails, chat box, formal and informal meetings. Company X find the current retrieving process is tedious and time consuming, and they like to streamline the process by developing an automated system that eventually reduces process time and increases return on investment. How will a product manager go about developing such a process? This is a purely case study. Okay, I'm not going to go through it. You can actually read it. You can answer it by yourself if you want to, but this is an example of a true case, an example that came in one of my previous interviews. I'm not going to go through how to answer such question because each question types has its own way of answering them, it has its own technique. You should know them. You already, I think, know them. You already knew them, but I just wanted to highlight the question of the interview question types. Maybe these are not all of them, but these are the ones that I experienced throughout my journey of conducting or undergoing different interviews. Please note that in mind. Great.